We need it done this year.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Mike.
I'm Spencer.
Dan.
This is the Board Game Rundown. Today we're going to review Deckscape in Wonderland. This is the newest Deckscape from DV Games. Full disclosure, I work their booth at Origins. I'm a friend of somebody who works for them, not a designer. But anyways, we're going to be demoing like Wonderbook and things like that for them at Gen Con as well. Well, I will be, and Bob and Andrew. These guys will be doing show stuff. Well, you're going to do what you want, I guess, technically.
I'll help with show stuff.
Oh, you're such a...
right, you will.
Oh, you're so good.
Don't you congratulate him for his responsibility. Okay.
But yeah, so Deckscape, this is the newest one. This is coming out at Gen Con. And there's a ton of other Deckscape games also in the line.
So many.
So far, as a rule, there's like Deckdetective, which is another one they do. That is my favorite version of these kind of games. Then I probably go to Deckscape, and then I haven't done the Unlock yet, but there's also like Exit. It's like a similar
Just borrow it for 6 months.
style
That's
thing.
fine.
Yeah, you know.
You know how it goes.
You know how it goes. But anyway, so we're going to talk about Deckscape in Wonderland. First of all, how you play, it's really straightforward. You open up the box, you pull a shrink off the deck of cards, and then they're literally 1 through 64, and you're going to follow in that order.
They tell you what to do.
The
They tell
decker
you-
is the rules.
Yep, and it's just going to be boom, boom, boom. You're going to go through and do all the whatever the stuff the cards say to do. It's usually like, look at this, flip this card, take 6 cards, lay them out, you know, flip them over when you've answered them, and they're basically going to mark like a red X if you get it wrong, or maybe if you get it right, you get to get rid of an X, you know, depending on what you're doing. I mean, that's really basically how it is played.
It's timed as well, so depending
Yes.
at the end, everything you get wrong, all the X's add to your time, and that's your final score.
Yeah, that is true. It is timed as well. So usually it's like get it done in under an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. And we usually come in right around there. This one, we actually came in faster
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and got a halfway decent score. So
Literally halfway decent. 5 out of 10. No, just kidding.
let's go into components.
Yeah. All right.
What's in the box?
So, components.
Components. This is a 64 card deck that you
And a
go
mirror.
through in order.
Oh, yeah. And a mirror.
Spoilers.
I mean,
That's not on
you learn it out 5 seconds
Yeah,
after.
yeah, when you do this, and
You
there's a little
showed
mirror.
them the thing. What is that?
Okay,
rundown
so
told
let's
me
move
about
on
that.
to final. No, just kidding.
Components. I mean, the cards are made up of a series of puzzles and different kinds of things that you can encounter. Ooh, pretty close.
So here's the
Plan
big
to the
thing.
head.
Here's the big thing we need to talk about for components because Mike's about to explode. So this is Alice in Wonderland, which is a public domain thing. I'm 99% sure it's public domain. I'm pretty sure it is. It might depend on your country. So technically it might not be in Italy because there are some things. I learned the other day that like James Bond is public domain in Canada or something. And I was like, what? Like I learned like this huge thing was public domain in Canada. But anyway, so maybe there's something in, in Italy and blah, blah, blah. But Mike, the art's a little weird, huh?
It is, and I understand it's Alice in Wonderland, and everybody has their own interpretation of Alice in Wonderland. Alice's face looked a little weird to me.
But she's got that really cool blue hair
I didn't
strand.
get like, oh, that's Alice in Wonderland,
Sure.
other than her being surrounded by Alice in Wonderland stuff. And the decision on Tweedledee and Tweedledum,
Yeah.
they look like they're middle-aged bald guys with a unibrow and
What's
a mustache.
wrong with being a middle-aged bald guy?
There is a lot wrong
I
with
just
you.
never in a
just
million
saying.
years would have thought those would be the guys I'd pick as Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I do love the Alice in Wonderland theme. Ever since I was a kid, I watched the Disney version over and over and over, so I love this theme.
Yeah.
But it was a strange choice on Tweedledee and
you don't love the look of the Cheshire Cat either, right?
He looks scary. Not inviting.
I have a theory. Martino and Silvano, I have a theory,
Oh, boy.
and I'm expecting an answer. While we were playing, Mike brought up the art, and we all agree it's a very weird choice for something that I thought was public domain. And then I had a thought. The whole idea of Alice in Wonderland is it's off-putting and strange, and Alice doesn't understand what she's putting up with when she goes through this world. We, though, have seen the movies, we've read the books, we've seen the cartoons. We know Alice in Wonderland. It's not weird to us anymore. When you see Alice, you go, yes, that's Alice in Wonderland. It's not weird anymore. So by changing the art and making us go, that's the Cheshire Cat. That's so weird. It's so off-putting. I don't understand. Why is the caterpillar like that? Why is this? They have found a way through just art alone to reintroduce the madness, right? And if that's what they were trying to do, I think it's genius.
And they succeed.
Yeah, or I'm making this up and I got your back, guys. I got your back. Mikey, he's crazy. I got your back.
Well, I don't think the art style is bad.
Sure.
I don't think any of the art is bad. I just think the style
Decisions.
choices they made to depict certain characters was a little off-putting.
Yeah.
I think the art's great, though.
Sure. Okay, so other things for components. I think that all the words are a good size. You don't need to sleeve it.
It's larger than deck, but smaller than tarot.
Yeah, we usually talk about rule books. No rule book, guys. It's just the deck.
Do what the cards
Yeah.
say.
So it's not a
puzzle.
square, so Bob will be happy.
I mean, you know, it's a nice, I guess, component, right? It's a nice little travel size. This can literally fit in your pocket. You know, that's nice. Easiest stocking stuffers you'll ever find, I think. But yeah, I don't know. Components, there's not too much else, guys.
All right, let's go into final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Spencer,
Yes.
final thoughts on this Deckscape in Wonderland.
This Deckscape in Wonderland is
This one, Spencer.
one?
Can you follow?
it was interesting. Some of the puzzles were definitely more out there. They were more, you got to think outside of the box to really try to figure out how to solve these. A few of them seemed more like they were a gimmick or purposely trying to catch you up, and that's all right. By the end, I think we had figured out, we can't go the logical route.
Right. It's a little late at that point.
Yeah, a little late. And so we did get the hang of it in the end. And actually, we did a very good score. I'm actually worried it might be a little too easy considering we ended up with 0 X's.
Yeah, but doesn't it being a little too easy after all we went through just drive you a little mad?
Yeah, a little bit.
On theme!
All right, Dan. What are your final thoughts, sir?
Well, I'm a big fan of Deckscape and Detective, and if I'm being totally honest, this one wasn't my favorite. It has possibly 2 of my favorite puzzles I've done in the line of the DV Games thing.
Yeah.
I think some of the puzzles in here are genius. I was like, oh my goodness, I love these. And then there were just some forgettable ones and stuff. Like that's the reason I think I like it less than some of the others, just because I didn't hate it, but it was less consistent. You know, some of the sometimes you play a game and you like all the puzzles, or sometimes you play a game you dislike all the puzzles. This one was just inconsistent. It was like, man, that was amazing. Okay, now we're doing something as easy as that. Okay, now that was just a trick. How are we gonna know that?
Yeah.
Okay, now this one was really easy. Like, it was just kind of all over the place. And overall, I enjoyed it. I don't know. Yeah, if you're into the Alice in Wonderland theme, I think this does do a great job of you pay attention to what it says, because the sentences are worded in there purposely and purposefully, and everything in there. When you read a sentence, reread it a couple times. There were a couple times where there was one time when I solved a puzzle just by everyone was like looking at it, and I said, no, guys, it's worded it as blah, 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 so we can do this. And I started moving things,
Yep.
and
It
things
all came
lined
together,
up and
yeah.
everything, And so really pay attention, because the whole point of Alice in Wonderland is things are confusing and purposely worded ambiguously, or sometimes purposely worded literally. And your brain just doesn't function that way when reading through the sentence, So just pay attention. But yeah, I mean, final thoughts wise, I had a good time with it. But unless someone was really into Alice in Wonderland, this definitely wouldn't be the first one I recommended.
Oh, sure,
you know?
sure.
And at a few points, we were even going like, does the comma matter?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Mike.
Yeah, they absolutely did their best in some of those puzzles on trying to confuse you right out of the get-go. So much that, like, punctuation mattered, like
Yeah.
you said. Like, well, that comma is here, so Yeah, they really did try to trip you up a lot in there. I did feel like there is a bit of sort of guessing on this, and I'm just, full disclosure, like I've said before, there are a lot of these unlocked games, exit games, that I just kind of feel like I'm playing a guessing game, and this one did kind of give me that feel. So my rating will not be as high as it was with the Detective game. I also feel like if you're saying this is a 1 to 6 player game, I think you're setting 3 or 4 people up for failure, because those 3 or 4 people are going to be listening to the other 2 who have the cards directly in front of them, and they're sussing everything out. Meanwhile, those other 3 or 4 people are going, oh yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
You can't, it's very difficult to play these with more than 3 people.
This is something also for those out there that have played Deckscape. This is a slight spoiler. I don't really see it as a spoiler, but I will say in Mike's defense, usually in Deckscapes, from our experience, you usually have like 4 puzzles going at a time, and you kind of just hand them out to people, and then if someone's stuck, you just say, okay, I'll take that one, you take this one. And in this game, there was almost always only one puzzle happening at a time.
There was like once or twice where there was 2 things.
And so I would really suggest with this one, above all others, you play this at like 1 or 2 players.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe 3.
Yeah. The other ones, honestly, I don't mind playing 4, players and stuff. But this
I would say
one,
all of these 4 max out, like tops, but
And I feel like there was no context of like, what kinds of things should I be doing to solve these puzzles? And that adds to that confusion that maybe this game is shooting for by being an Alice in Wonderland game.
Well, so, because here's the thing is I was thinking about this while we were playing other stuff and you guys are talking and everything. I feel like the first couple puzzles, which we were like totally baffled by, even though they are very obvious.
Right. They're there to get you in the right mindset.
But that's the thing is they are calibrating your brain.
Yes.
They're like, okay, these are some gimmies. We're not going to punish you. We're not going to hit you too hard for these. But they really are trying to calibrate your brain for like some of the madness that is coming later.
Yeah.
And while initially found it frustrating, I think we all kind of did. Like, what? Come on. Midway through, we really hit a stride and started flying through a lot of the puzzles. And I feel like it is because they helped us calibrate our minds to work through the logic stuff.
Sure.
Doesn't mean you had a good time. Right? Doesn't mean you like it. But I will say...
And necessary.
I will say, though, I did, in retrospect, I did not appreciate it when it was being done to me at the beginning. But by the end, by now, like, reflecting on it, I'm like, oh, I feel like that is very much intentional. Yeah. Again, because it's hammering, like, make sure you're paying attention to everything that's being said and told to you.
However, even with this having just 1 puzzle at a time and there being 4 players, I found that the experienced Deckscape players were scooting through puzzles faster than a non-experienced Deckscape puzzle player. And therefore, I'm like, oh, you got it? Sweet. Next.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, like I'm watching these guys figure them out at a much faster pace than I can, and I'm just going with the flow.
Well, and we should point out this was Mike's first Deckscape. So, and honestly, I think this is a really rough first Deckscape.
Yeah.
So I would not do this one
I'm really excited
first.
to play more of these, though. So I'm not. While there were things that I think could be better, it does not deter me from trying the others.
So, and again, kind of along what Dan was saying, and this will be the end of my final thoughts because I already said most of them, is I really enjoy this line of games. This is probably not my favorite one out of there, but I don't feel like just because it's not my favorite one doesn't mean it's a bad one.
Sure.
So I had a good time with it. There were times where I was like, oh, really? But again, upon reflection, it's like, no, they're setting you up to help you understand how to solve the puzzles later.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these games, honestly, you get your brain to click, and then once they really start to click, a bunch of the other puzzles really do start to fall into place.
They set the tone for the type of decisions that you'll be making.
Yes, that's
right.
a really
The
good way to say
problem
it.
is the second it was setting the tone, you were like, "Oh no, I don't like this kind
this
of tone."
is confusing.
yeah, so I get that, you know.
But it did become more clear as we played.
Sure.
So I appreciate that.
Sure. Okay, let's go into final score.
So the way we're going to do final scores, we're all going to give it a 1 out of 10 rating. We do use 0.5s, honestly, just for variety. Then at the end, we're going to average them all together so that you only get one score. That's kind of the board game rundown score, and we will post that score on Board Game Geek and our Discord and anything like that where you might care. So
Spencer
first is Spencer, also known as Copy My Clothes Man.
I'm going to give this one a 6.5.
6.5. Okay. Daniel.
This one had massive ups and downs for me. At the end of the day, my biggest knock on it, like I said, is the fact that I just feel like I wouldn't play with this with more than 2. Like, I wouldn't recommend this for more than 2, unlike the other ones, and that's a big hit for me. So I'm gonna say 6.5. Yeah, it's above average. It was fun, but it didn't blow my mind.
Mike.
Yeah, while I'm noticing that the detective, and I'm assuming the other Deckscape games have 1 to 6 on the box, I do very much feel like you're setting up 3 to 4 people for failure if you try to play this with 6. So, I mean, full disclosure there. I'm interested to play more of these, but yeah, as a jumping off point, not the best experience in my end because I felt like I was watching 2 other people play the game.
What was I doing?
You're holding the cards.
So maybe that experience was good. It also helped me get through it. If it was just me and one other person playing this for the first time, think about that though. Like as confusing as I was as an experienced board gamer playing this, which is intentionally confusing for the first time, like how many times would I just be like, "Well, I have no clue. Let's flip it over."
Well,
and go
yeah,
to the next one.
and you're saying if you were playing with just like your friend or something who had also never played.
Yeah,
right.
2
and just
people
like
that have never touched
like
these
that
before,
would be rough.
and this is your jumping in point. Ooh, start with the others. I'll give it a 6.5.
Okay. Yeah, this is a 7.5. I think most of them I would rate like an 8. This one is a little bit lower for me, but it did have some amazing puzzles in there that Dan and I both were gushing. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Me too.
And I would love to talk about it.
Well,
but
there were
I don't
2 or 3 where after we did it, I stood up from the table and I was like, "That was genius!"
Yeah, there's some legit great puzzles in here, I recommend all of these so far. Every single one that I've played, I really like. And results may vary, but for the most part, it is consistently a good experience. So what is that all together there, Spencer?
Altogether, that is a 6.8.
6.8.
Almost a 7. That's all right.
Yeah, it's not bad. Again, I don't think it's bad. Don't make it your first one. If you're gonna pick this up, pick it up with another one.
Yeah,
right. That's definitely good
Heist in
point.
Venice or the Behind the Curtain, the Magic one's good.
So therefore, if you go to the DV Games booth and find Tim and you want to buy a Deckscape, buy at least 2.
Buy at least 2. Yeah, Bryce will. Bryce
That
will
is
say
not what I meant when I said it, but it is true.
And again, if you're going to be at Gen Con, this is debuting at Gen Con. So come and buy a copy. There will be me and Bob and Andrew all working the booth at any given point in time.
I feel like the problem is that out of all the Deckscapes, this is the first one I think that theme-wise people are going to say, "Oh, wow, I love Alice in Wonderland. I'm going to buy that." And I just almost feel like it's my responsibility. Like if I was working the booth, be like, "Hey, listen, I understand. I understand that the other ones have kind of an abstract theme, and this one's like Alice in Wonderland. But if you're gonna buy that, I suggest buying this one too." And I'm not just saying that as a salesman.
Sir, that's a copy of Wonder Book.
No, I'm just saying, I think this is the first one that are going to really get people to just grab this, and I feel bad. I'm like, you probably don't want that to be your first one, but how do you say that?
Sure,
so
get the Alcatraz one too or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But all right, guys. So this has been Deckscape in Wonderland, and for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
I've been Mike.
I've been Spencer.
I've been Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.